Alright. Pulling up the Luigi's there with that smooth music. Yeah, there's something that I want to show off back here. Oh, it's just an area I always go to. I like this stairwell back here, kind of hidden behind a nightclub, behind a billboard, and then, there's a hidden package up there. It's a good spot to snipe people, and it's just a spot that I remember that I always like to go over to. I like that falling animation.
Some Diablo scumbag has been pimping his scuzzy bitches in my backyard. Go and take care of things for me. If you need a piece, go around back of Ammunition opposite the subway.
Every character that tells you to go to Ammunition says to go opposite the subway. If you look closely to the right there, camera right, there's a sign for the Fudge Packing Corporation next to Ammunition. There's a lot of stuff like that in the city. All kinds of jokes for businesses and buildings, Any place with a sign probably has some kind of joke, and Fudge Packing Corp's one of the funniest ones to me. Alright, so let's get a gun. That's pretty obvious.
Luigi said you need a piece, so go around the back of the shop. I left you 9 in the yard.
Yeah, you can't actually buy any weapons yet, and in this city you only have the pistol and the Uzi. So you go back to the yard, and struggle to get through the doorway there, and you get a free gun. A little target practice, which is useless because the aiming in this game is all lock-on, and the aiming in this game is really bad. It's always fun to beat up the cops. I actually kicked that cop's ass. He didn't have, like barely any, health, it seemed like. He went down in, 2 punches and a kick. Yeah, I like that Ammunition guy. I think he's, the only British character, well, the only British voice actor for a character you interact with in the game. But I distinctly remember when I was playing this mission with a friend of mine, we both were, mimicking the way he was saying, 9 in the yard, when we were younger. I like how that area is actually all messed up back there. It's easy to drive through when you know how to, like I just did, but I used to drive through there and your car would just completely bottom out and get all fucked up. If you don't know how to maneuver through there quickly, it's a really pain in the ass to drive through, especially if you've got the cops after you or something. But yeah, this is a fairly easy mission, but it's the first one where you might actually die, because the pimp actually has a shotgun and the guy has an Uzi. He missed me, luckily, and I already had a shotgun, so... from getting into cops' cars. I always do that if I lose all my weapons, I go get in a cop's car. Just immediately get a couple shotgun shells. So yeah, that beeper pops up when you complete certain missions. It allows you to do certain things that you unlock, and I unlocked the pistol, which is only a good weapon in the beginning of the game, really. I need a little help, and that hooker just walked right into my car instead of looking in the window. I used to think for a long time that when they look in the window, they're just bowing at your door, because that's what it looks like, because they lean down and stand back up and lean down, but they're actually, supposed to be doing that, quintessential, hooker leaning down, showing you her tits, looking into your window, like, "You looking for a date, honey?" kind of thing. Yeah, this is funny to do, because they're not actually having sex at all. There's no animation for it. So it's funny to go into that view and just look at the hooker staring straight. Oh yeah, this is sexy as hell. And look at your guy point the Uzi out the window casually. So, I missed. After that incredibly sexy venture, let's go do another mission. After I have a rest first.
Policeman's ball is being held at the old school hall near the Callahan Bridge, and they'll be looking for some old school action. Now, I got girls all over town walking the street. Get them to the ball. They'll make a bundle. Get as many of them as you can before the cops drink away their green.
I realized I went and got that pistol to not even use it in the mission. Oh, whatever. So I chose this stylish vehicle for this mission because it's all about picking up hookers and bringing them to another place. It's a fairly boring mission. I don't really like it, but whatever. There's a way you can cheese this pretty easily if you get a bus called the Coach. You can get every hooker in that vehicle in one trip because you're already going to have to make multiple trips unless you use that vehicle. I don't remember where it was, and I completely forgot about that exploit when I was recording this. So it doesn't really even matter. And this vehicle is not as good as I thought it was, because I thought it could hold 6 people altogether. It can only hold 4. I thought that the back had 2 extra seats, but it doesn't. But yeah, since this mission is fairly boring... Oh yeah, that right there that I just drove past, that restaurant or whatever, that whole area is in Grand Theft Auto 4. I remember distinctly seeing that area. I remember thinking that was kind of cool, because it is supposed to be Liberty City. But anyways, since this mission is kind of boring, I'm going to talk about how I got introduced to this game. Anytime I play this game, I will always remember my friend Blake from middle school, because he was the one that showed me this game. Well, I already knew about the game, obviously. I had been pretending to play it for months. Everyone at my... Well, a lot of guys in my class, not everyone, but there were like 3 or 4 guys in my class and that I was friends with, and we would all talk about Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, they had all played it, except for one, who only had Grand Theft Auto 2. And I remember just feeling so sorry for him for some reason, because he only had Grand Theft Auto 2, and I didn't even know what was in Grand Theft Auto 2. I had seen gameplay of this game, but didn't know what it was all about. But I knew that it looked fun. I knew that it looked cool. And how everything the guys were talking about, like the hookers, everyone talked about the Banshee. I remember one guy talked a lot about how if you get in a cop car, you automatically get a shotgun. I remember, you know, everyone bragging about how they got a cop car to their hideout. Even I did once I got the game. You know, that's nothing. I like how you can hear that music coming from inside of the building. That's an interesting touch. I like little things like that. But yeah, that's something I also always think of, is how I was just such a liar and just wanted to fit in to such an extent back then that I pretended to have played this game. I didn't even have a PlayStation 2, and I wouldn't for like another 2 years. Because this was like 2001. But I finally did play this game when I was staying the night at my friend Blake's house. And he knew I hadn't played it. For some reason I didn't invite him. I don't really remember why. I might have met him in a different grade, actually. I can't remember, but I remember he was like the only person that I could hang out with, or that I did hang out with, that could play this game. Because when I finally had this game and was the only one allowed to play it in my neighborhood, this is when I lived in a completely different state. I hadn't moved yet, and at this point, Blake was like the only friend of mine that had it. And I remember him telling me all kinds of stuff about the game. This is where I really learned a lot about the game, was from him. He hadn't beaten the game. He was on the second island. And I really remember being curious how you got the different levels, because everyone was always like the first, the second, the third island. And also everyone talked about the house you could rob in the third island. That was another thing everyone talked about. But Blake was only on the second island. And I remember I was just horrible at it. And I would just get, you know, immediately get 2 or 3 stars, you know, just from walking around, getting any kind of fight. I mean, I just sucked at the game, and all I wanted to do was drive, and I would end up destroying the vehicle by accident, you know, or I'd end up hitting a cop car, running somebody over. I hadn't even played a PS2 before. Well, no, I think I had, but I had not played it very much at all before this. I had a Nintendo 64 and GameCube. And I remember he was telling me the cheats and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm never going to be able to enter these. We were trying to enter the all guns cheat, and I remember it took me so long, but then I finally entered the cheat correctly, and I remember saying, this gives me hope, which is just such a stupid thing to say. And the reason I said is I had just watched the movie Some Kind of Wonderful, And there's a line where a character says, "This gives me hope." But I mean, it really did give me hope for my ability to play a PS2. Just so ridiculous, but yep. A little bit of Grand Theft Auto 3 history from me.